Alright, welcome everybody. My name is Daniel Hoglar. This is Organic EDU Media, and today we are going to be doing Behavior Modification Part 1. Alright, so let's get to it. So why do we care? Why do we care about behavior modifications? What is the goal when it comes to something like behavior modification? Well, change is necessity to growth. So the goal is to help you change in a more positive and self-fulfilling way. When we react to certain things in our life, consequences can come to that from that. And so, sometimes behaviors all happen automatically. I call this autopilot. And then sometimes it takes a decision-making process. You get to think about different components, and then you make a decision, and then that impacts your behavior. Mostly, for these autopilot behaviors, we want to make sure that if we're acting on autopilot, we can trust ourselves enough to make the best decision for ourselves in the moment. So through that, we use behavior modification. Behavior modification can help you understand yourself and why others act the way they do. So when we go through something like behavior modification, this is something that humans use to learn and grow. So we'll get to that a little bit more ahead, but we'll start to see how humans use this to help themselves survive and all sorts of things. So the focus on internal behavioral occurrences helps us strengthen the mind-body connection. And this is what we want. We want to understand why we behave the way we do. Understand why we feel types of things. That way, we're not blindsided by these behaviors and these emotions when they come up. So let's get to some vocabulary. First off, we have a behavior, which is the ways in which we act. Behaviors are the ways in which we behave. Conditioning, learning based on prior experiences. So conditioning would be, it's like operant conditioning. You have stuff like the Pavlovian response. If you know about these concepts, these are psychological concepts, you understand what conditioning is. Thoughts. So thoughts are going to be mental images, ideas, and understandings that stem from our current emotional state. A contingency. A contingency is a person's way of ensuring or locking in of preferable occurrences in life. So contingency is making sure that preferable things happen again. We eat in the morning so we have contingent energy throughout the day. It would be a really good way of looking at that. Behavior modification is modifying or terminating existing behaviors to more beneficial ones, or manifesting new behaviors that help us interact in society. So maybe we have a behavior that needs to get better, like maybe we press snooze too much, but we're going to sleep on time. So we don't need to stop the going to sleep on time. We need to modify it to where we're not hitting snooze so much. Or maybe we're just going to sleep at like 4. And that way we need to extinct that behavior and manifest one of going to bed better. But I guess there's maybe a lot of different ways you can look at that. So concepts, extinction refers to reducing the occurrence of unfavorable behaviors to 0. The more you do a behavior, the easier and more automatic it becomes. The less you do a behavior, the less it occurs spontaneously. And mindfulness is the process of peering into one's own thoughts, beliefs, and emotions to get a deeper understanding of their own state of mind. Excuse me. So yeah, extinction refers to we have this behavior, we don't want this behavior anymore, so we're going to get this behavior out of here. Once we are no longer capable of the behavior, the extinction is complete. We want to find ways to reward yourself for good behaviors. And this is tough. This takes a lot of discipline. This takes a lot of like setting yourself down and pushing away the fun stuff until you get the important stuff completed. You might be motivated by food. You might be motivated by gifts, buying yourself something once you do good. You might be motivated by a nice drink at the bar or something like that. Any way you can motivate yourself responsibly, of course, I highly recommend it. So, practice better behaviors. Think about them mindfully. When you're mindfully thinking, you might, have times where you sit on the couch just chilling, nothing's going on around you, no TV, no phone, just thinking about your own thoughts, your own emotions, how you feel right now, what's going on through your head. Sit there for like 10, 15 minutes. Meditation also helps with this. But really, and also you can, in the moment, if you're able to catch these, you can kind of log different ways you behaved and then track them and observe them as they pop up over and over again. So maybe you always you're used to using informal language in situations maybe at your work where it should be more formal. You notice these informal ways. You're not being rude, but it's something you want to modify, just so you're being more formal. You look more respectable in front of your boss or in front of your leaders or whatever. So yes, tracking that and then figuring out what makes you feel. Maybe you're getting too comfortable at work. Maybe you're too friendly with other people, in like not like an inappropriate setting, but in a way where, hey, we kind of need to focus a little bit more on work than these types of things. Logging and helping yourself understand why you behave the way you do. Monitoring those behaviors that you want to modify. And yeah. All this, so we extinct when we don't want a behavior anymore. We modify when we want the behavior, but we just need to tweak it a little bit. We manifest when we need a new behavior, and we use mindfulness to determine all these things. Yeah, cool, let's move on. How humans use behavior modification. So, Child 1 and Child 2, I think this is an example. Child 1, yes, this is an example. Child 1 and Child 2 are playing in a park. Child 1 gets mad and pushes Child 2. Child 2 has a stress response to sudden pain, which triggers adrenaline. Child 2 responds by pushing Child 1. This is a counter response. Child 1 has a stress response and a logical response. Maybe a logical response. This is a hypothetical. All this is like set up in the perfect way. It's a hypothetical. Child 1 connects his actions with the pain and no longer wrongfully pushes others. Extinction. So, what happened here? Child 1 did a thing, and a consequence happened because of that thing. Child 1 assessed all the relevant information. So what happened from square one to the end square. And then we have automatic stress responses and automatic logical responses. But this doesn't have to be an automatic logical response. It will always be usually an automatic stress response. It will usually always be an automatic stress response. It doesn't have to be an automatic logical response. We can have like parental intervention to fill in the gaps. Okay, well, you pushed him, so why did you expect not to get pushed back? Or, yes, he did this, and pushing you is wrong, but you pushed him first, so you can't really expect not to get pushed. Kind of like a give and pull kind of thing. And then we connect the stress response. So this would be like cortisol, adrenaline, shocks, pain to the body, and we're connecting that, and we're modifying our behaviors through this process. And so we have a physiological, we kind of have a learned component to it, and then we have a interactive component. So we're interacting with other human beings, and then we are learning as a process of it. Example 2. Susanna goes to a pet store in the mall. She meets a puppy and they have a playful interaction. Susanna gets a rush of dopamine and labels the experience as happy. Susanna is more likely to see other puppies as happy experiences. Molly goes to the same pet store and the puppy she meets bites her and draws blood. Molly gets a rush of adrenaline from the sudden pain and labels the experience as dangerous or a threat or potentially harmful. Molly is more likely to see other puppies as threats or potentially harmful as dangerous or likely to bring pain or something. So what's happening here? So let's say Susanna and Molly are both 5 years old. Okay? So they're in an early part of their development. They're still learning a lot. They're still having experiences, building traumas and whatnot. Susanna had a good experience. Likely in the future, she's going to be more open to dogs. Molly had a bad experience. Likely in the future, she's going to be less open to dogs. So what's happening here? Well, the brain is receiving a signal, and this is going to influence conditioning. Or it's sometimes going to be based on conditioning. Basically, the brain is going to receive a signal. You get a pat on the back for doing something good. The brain receives a signal, and then we label the signals with words. You get a pat on the back. That's accomplishment, refreshing, comforting. Who knows? Who knows what it could be? But we label it. And so if we label a future experience with a puppy as a threat due to a past experience, we will need to modify that behavior to integrate into a more integral one to allow for positive interaction. So how do we do this? Well, the brain receives a signal, we label it, and then we associate the chemical response, whether it's dopamine, whether it's cortisol, whether it's adrenaline, we associate that with a word. And different fluctuations of these chemicals announce to different words, or come out to be different words. So, a pat on the back could be comforting, could be rewarding, could be accomplishing. A slap in the face is going to be painful, it's going to be embarrassing, it's going to be degrading, it's going to be insulting. Lots of different things. Okay? So we kind of have to use mindfulness to see where our labels are coming from, right? So if we're labeling puppies as scary or dangerous or harmful, maybe they're dogs, we can use this to look back and understand, okay, I'm doing this because one time I had an experience that went really bad with a dog. And now we can flip that around and make it into more like not all puppies, not all dogs are gonna bite me. In fact, most of them, from where I come from at least, other people have different experiences in different places. From where I come from, most dogs I walk up to and interact with. You should never just walk up to somebody else's dog. But if I were to, I think most dogs would have a positive response to that. Again, you should never walk up to somebody's dog and just start petting them. You should always ask for, permission, consent, whatever. But the point is based off our environment, shows how we respond to different things. If we have a negative experience with squirrels in our neighborhood, odds are, the longer we go without a positive experience with squirrels, we're just gonna hate squirrels for a pretty long time. Or if we grow up and squirrels just bring you people's money for some reason, I don't know, some crazy example, then yeah, you're gonna, until you have a negative experience with squirrels, you're gonna have a good view on squirrels. And so this is basically just kind of like an opener's thing for behavior modification. I hope we learned something, and I hope we figured something out. Feel free to email me for comments. Hopefully, I can put something in the course where you can leave a little comment, some feedback, or whatever. But thank you so much, and have a great day.